Whenever the emperor drank, he'd bestow marriages. I was betrothed to Su Ziyu, the only heir of Su Zhaoting, my father's sworn enemy. My father was so furious he practically spat blood, wishing he could return to his prime and have another son with my mother to take my place. I rolled my eyes. If you use a son to take my place, aren't you afraid of being found out? My father slammed his palm onto the pear blossom tea table, shattering it. The tough guy shed tears. What's there to be afraid of? Stuff a bun in his mouth, put on some makeup. At night, my iron fists will go to work, beating that Su fellow until he's spitting teeth. That's how I'll get my revenge. Your dad's only precious treasure. How could I let you suffer? Daughter, wait here. I'm going to talk to the third prince right now and plot a rebellion ahead of schedule. Terrified, I quickly lunged to stop him. The troops aren't ready. Rebelling now is just handing over a family-sized bucket of heads to the enemy. Let me get married first. You can wait a bit longer for the rebellion. Die sooner or die later. Of course, I'd choose to die later. Who knew that on our wedding night, my wicked husband would give me a brutal welcome? He disguised himself as a lecherous bandit, claiming he would defile my purity. Once you're a withered flower and a fallen willow, will you still have the face to meet your husband? I've prepared white silk for you. When the time comes, you can hang yourself from a southeast branch to preserve your good name. I immediately ordered my hidden guards to knock him out. Waking up the next morning, Su Ziyu stared, dumbfounded, at the red stain on the wedding veil. His legs were trembling when he stood up. I said demurely, "Husband, you must have worked hard last night." It was all because the hidden guards had watched too many episodes of the 18 Grand Tortures of the Capital and understood its true essence. They drew blood from such an inconspicuous and awkward place. That day, my husband roared that he was no longer clean, and I became famous overnight. The entire Su household cursed me for being shameless and redoubled their efforts to torment me. 24 hours a day, I was busier than the chief eunuch in the palace. Serving my in-laws, cooking 3 meals, washing clothes, copying feminine virtues. I could only snatch about 4 hours of sleep each day. I survived by frantically chewing ginseng to extend my life. I endured and endured. The old emperor finally endured his way to the bridge of forgetfulness. The third prince successfully ascended the throne, and my father-in-law's entire family, who had backed the wrong side in court, was finished. With a single imperial decree from the new emperor, the entire Su household was reduced to pariah status and banished to the House of Joy. My father went to petition for an imperial decree to divorce me, but I refused. Dad, wherever my husband goes, I go. I want to go to the House of Joy as a maidservant, and I will never leave my husband. My father's jaw twitched. Fine, fine, fine. If you love suffering, then go with him. I can't control you. My husband looked at me with shock. My mother-in-law moved, grasped my hand. Good child, true feelings are indeed revealed in adversity. She thought I was going to be a maidservant and continue serving her. But the madam in charge directly assigned my in-laws to scrub chamber pots. She then sized up my husband and me a few times, nodding in satisfaction. She instructed a maid. Good quality, pleasing appearance. Get them ready. They'll be auctioned off tomorrow. I was utterly terrified. My father truly hadn't made any arrangements for me? My husband gloated. Didn't you love taking things by force? Looks like you've crashed and burned this time. Listen to the madam, earn lots of money, and then there might be hope of lifting our family's pariah status someday. The next morning, I went to sweep the floor, my heart heavy with worry. But then I saw 2 brothel attendants dragging my husband away. Su Ziyu, bewildered, struggled. What are you doing? Let me go. You've got the wrong person. The tall attendant said impatiently. What wrong person? You're exactly who we're here for. Our master is branching out into a new venture. They're opening a green pleasure house right next door. And you've been chosen. My husband instantly turned deathly pale and was about to fight them. Get lost, all of you. I'm a man, I would never. The madam arrived, hearing the commotion, and clapped a hand over his mouth. What's all this fuss? What position are you in, to still be so picky? I obsequiously followed. Madam, my husband has always been a man of integrity. Even after marrying me, he has never shared a bed. He's a true virgin, you know. You absolutely must set a good price for my husband. Seeing my resourcefulness, The madam arranged for me to groom and dress him. Truly, no one understood better than I how to accentuate my husband's beauty. I dusted his face with light powder and moistened his lips. I drew sharp, sword-like eyebrows for him and enhanced them with pigment. I also chose a long, sheer robe for him, as light as cicada wings. His collarbones were subtly exposed, and his inverted triangle physique was tantalizingly glimpsed. Looking at his resolute expression of shamed refusal, I dared to bet that in the evening, he would surely win the favor of countless noble patrons. The madam even arranged for the girls to collectively admire him. The attendant who had once worked at the South Wind brothel couldn't stop praising him. It was just that my husband's hands and feet were restrained, making it difficult for him to express his gratitude towards me. The thought that he would soar to success tonight, and that my in-laws might also be able to escape their chamber pot scrubbing duties, made me excitedly rub my hands together. Such good news, I immediately went to inform my in-laws. My in-laws had cloths tied over their noses, and were battling with brushes against feces and urine. They truly had never held a proper job before. I frowned, looking at the substandard wooden buckets. Father, mother, madam says the buckets must be scrubbed so clean you'd dare to drink water from them. You're not doing well. You still need to work harder. Oh right. I came today to tell you that madam has arranged the first auction for tonight, and Old Master Sue looked at me as if I were filth. You are a member of my Sue family. To lose your reputation here, you might as well die. My mother-in-law pulled a long face. A woman's reputation is greater than heaven itself. If you go with another, my Sue family cannot keep you. Even if my son falls on hard times, he cannot have you as his wife. If you truly were, then let Ziu write a divorce letter, and you will have no further connection with my Sue family. No way, they thought it was me. My in-laws continued scrubbing the buckets with cold faces. I swallowed the rest of my sentence, turned around, and left. I wasn't qualified to watch the evening auction. But after it ended, the madam distributed rewards to everyone. The tall attendant said that my husband was practically fought over. I touched the string of coins, and my curiosity got the better of me. My husband. Did he go with a male client or a female client? The attendant looked at me with a bewildered expression. Didn't you say Suziu was a virgin? Then naturally it's both. Of course, female clients get priority for the first half of the night. I was utterly stunned. Mama. She has such business acumen. So a scumbag could actually be sold twice. With such wisdom, she was bound to profit from anything she did. My admiration for Mama rose to new heights. The next day, the sun was high in the sky. My poor husband was too exhausted to get out of bed. The servants attending him said he was truly pitiful. He couldn't lie on his back. Nor could he lie on his stomach. He could only lie on his side. Just how much suffering he'd endured, front and back, I had no idea. But the servants widely rumored that water had been added 7 times overnight. They even gave him the nickname Seventh Master. Thinking that he would surely be listless and questioning his existence when he woke up, I proactively persuaded Mama to find his parents to give him a shred of family warmth. But I waited and waited. And the door to the room never opened. Indecent sounds emanated from within. My father-in-law's face was ashen. With such a disgraceful affair in our family, we'll just pretend we don't have this daughter-in-law. My mother-in-law awkwardly echoed, when I have a moment, I'll have my son divorce her. As they spoke, I arrived carrying melon seeds. My in-laws saw me and their jaws dropped. Aren't you in there? I laughed gleefully. Father, mother, you've misunderstood. The one Mama chose is my husband. Yesterday he hung up his sign, and now he's serving a distinguished guest. When you go in later, be sure to comfort my husband. Mama said if he resists, his parents will be the first to get beaten. Since things have come to this, he might as well enjoy himself. Old man Sue was incredulous. He pushed open the door, saw the depravity inside, and instead of scolding his son, he turned and cursed at me. Li Beizu, you venomous woman who sells her husband for personal gain. My mother-in-law wailed loudly. It was clearly you. It must have been you who harmed my son. Their good big son was barely clinging to life at this point, and the distinguished guest departed, covering her face under the protection of a pimp. My father-in-law's big slap was about to land. I moved like a nimble snake, dodging behind Mama, who had arrived upon hearing the commotion. Mama took a blow for me. Who's the ignorant fool seeking death? I pushed my father-in-law, making him stumble, then ingratiatingly sidled up to Mama. Mama, you've had a tough time. This is Su Ziyu, the top host's biological father. He's my charming father-in-law, who still retains his allure. Mama was closer now and saw him clearly. Her eyes lit up, then lit up again and again. He truly does still retain his allure. Someone, take this Su. Top host Su's father away and look after him well. Like father, like son. And so, with my strong recommendation, my father-in-law entered the profession. He and my husband dominated the charts as the preferred choice in Yulu Courtyard's first tier of distinguished guests. My rank splendidly ascended. A maidservant, that was the old me. Now please call me Nia Hiru, specially appointed instructor. Every day, I deeply study the principles of male conduct, then preach, teach, and resolve doubts for my father-in-law and husband. I harvested tons of hateful gazes from the men of the Su family. My mother-in-law secretly comes to the main room, watching her husband and beloved son from afar, seeing them become increasingly effeminate day by day. Their masculine vigor gone. She washes her face with tears all day long. Even the chamber pot is almost soaked salty by her tears. She tells everyone she meets that she must have committed a sin in her previous life, to have met a daughter-in-law like me. The Su family originally had a chance to shed their lowly status, but now it's all over. Later, she even angrily cursed my father in front of me for not protecting his in-laws. She completely forgot that my father-in-law had repeatedly tried to put my own father to death. Nowadays, in my teaching classroom, there are guards skilled in martial arts patrolling the room, for fear that those people would rebel. My most valued students are still my husband and father-in-law. I attend to everything personally. For grooming lessons, I always use them as models. Their clothing, food, lodging, and travel are always meticulously arranged, thousands of times better than the treatment I received when I was a daughter-in-law in the Su family. I'm perfectly clear in my heart. If my husband is well, then all is truly well. I still need to rely on my husband to live a good life. However, my husband has likely been tormented excessively. He is listless all day long, his former vibrancy greatly diminished. It made me so anxious that I got a large cold sore on my lip. I care about his health. He cares about my life and death. Li Beizu, you malicious and poisonous woman, why aren't you dead yet? He throws tantrums, operating unwillingly every day, entirely relying on the pimp's methods. My heart was burning with anxiety. To please him, I decided to go all out. I spent quite a bit of silver, entrusting someone to find and bring over Du Wanner, his white moonlight childhood sweetheart, to visit him, hoping to give him some emotional encouragement. I clenched my fist and swore to Du Wanner. When we got married back then, my husband never had me in his heart. The wedding sheet the next day was faked by me. In his heart, there has always only been you. Although he met with misfortune, even in his sleep, he calls your maiden name. Given the current circumstances, I reckon it won't be long before the entire family can buy back their freedom and become commoners. At that time, his parents naturally won't object. Du Wanner was no fool, she was skeptical. Su Gij, could he still be hiding private family assets? Buying back freedom is no small matter. Furthermore, why are you so kind now? I sighed. My husband, for your sake, even tried to force me to death on our wedding night. I didn't admit it at the time, because I wanted to drive a wedge between the two of you. But I've seen through it now. He doesn't have me in his heart. He can only accommodate you. This place is hard to endure. I want to ask you to comfort him more, and tell him not to always go against the matron. Du Wanner raised her chin high and sneered. So it was you who meddled, as expected. We recognized each other long ago. You can forget about trying to break us up again. If it weren't for the fact that I feared attracting attention recently, I would have come to find Su Gij long ago. I repeatedly apologized, planning to take her into the training room. Normally at midday, this was where Su Ziyu practiced his zither and flute. Little did I know his schedule had changed today, and no one had informed me. When we pushed the door open, Du Wanner and I almost had our eyeballs pop out of their sockets. Su Ziyu was receiving a beating. Having disturbed the honored guest's pleasure, the person yelled, "Get out!" furiously towards the door. I swiftly took the day's Du Wanner and got out of there. Du Wanner burst into tears, crying hysterically. How could he debase himself so? Did you arrange this? You're too vicious. To save yourself, you actually betrayed your own husband. She whimpered, covering her face with a handkerchief, and ran out. After the guest left, Su Ziyu argued with me. You let Wanner see that. You made me lose my last shred of dignity. I am now the top courtesan. Aren't you afraid I'll get revenge? Just you wait. I'll stake my life and never let you off. Feeling that I was in the wrong, I hung my head, crestfallen and speechless. Little did I know, Su Ziyu was quite cunning. He found someone to exchange letters with Du Wanner, and his spirits unexpectedly improved day by day, until one day, the pimp mysteriously showed me the secret letters between the two. It turned out that those two had actually become allies against a common enemy. They said they wanted to get Du Wanner's ignorant and incompetent younger brother, Du Yuxian, to come to the Courtyard of Delights and specifically ask for me, a female member of the Su household, to spend the night with him. After I finished reading the secret letters, I sneered. After all, I wasn't the only female member of the Su household. My mother-in-law was the most legitimate female member of the Su household. This matter couldn't have happened without my mother-in-law's instigation. The letter mentioned that she had obtained a secret medicine from elsewhere. A single dose would guarantee I'd sleep like a log. My mother-in-law specially took leave, saying she wanted to have a private talk with me. When the maid said someone was looking for me, she watched me drink the tea before making an excuse to leave. I pretended to faint and asked her to help me. When we reached the private room's doorway, I pushed her in with a swift backhand and locked the door. My mother-in-law, terrified, screamed help. A few times. However, the words help, when shouted elsewhere, are a plea for survival. But when shouted here, they are an invitation for pleasure. Soon, Du Yuxian inside began his work, and my mother-in-law whimpered and sobbed. After it was over and Du Yuxian had left, I, with tear-filled eyes, went to confess my mistake to my husband. Husband, I made a grave mistake, and I've disgraced the ancestors of the Su family. I didn't mean to, you must forgive me. My husband leaped up from the bed overjoyed. Li Beizu, you unchaste and impure harlot. You truly had ulterior motives long ago, and the prestige of my Su family has been ruined by you. He snatched up the divorce papers from under his pillow and flung them at me. Get out, you withered harlot. Not drowning you in a pig cage is letting you off easy. Sobbing, I took the divorce papers and retreated outside. A month later, my mother-in-law vomited incessantly while cleaning the chamber pot. At first, everyone thought she was sensitive to the stench. But now, after doing it for over a month, she should have become proficient. Yet she was still vomiting constantly. The frequency of eating a bowl and throwing up a bucket was quite strange. The doctor made an exception to examine her, and told me that my mother-in-law was pregnant. My husband, ex-husband, was the only son of the Su family. Now he has new loved ones. On my windfire wheels, I went to bring good news to my former father-in-law and former husband. Old Master Su, elder brother Su, my former mother-in-law is pregnant. A new addition is imminent for the Su household. How wonderful and congratulatory. Old Man Su's face turned green with rage. He rushed to find his wife and confront her. You dared to find another man behind my back? Not only did you stray, but you got pregnant. Do you think that just because I'm down and out here, you can collude with others and escape on your own? My mother-in-law insisted she was as wronged as Dou-yi. Li Beizu framed me, Su Lang, you must believe me. Although you're not innocent either, I never thought of cuckolding you. That day I drank her tea and she tricked me. I stated righteously. Clearly, mother-in-law, you resented father-in-law and your son, and wanted to shed your servile status. I heard people say you'd taken up with Du Yuxian, but I didn't believe it. I never imagined you two would even have a child together. If you still care for father-in-law, why not get rid of this child and honestly stay here, scrubbing latrines? My mother-in-law fell silent. If a man does not look out for himself, he will be condemned by heaven and earth. That Du Yuxian had won money gambling and promised to take her away. She hesitated for a long time, not daring to agree, fearing others would point fingers and curse her to death. But if she didn't leave now, her own husband would curse her, either go back to scrubbing toilets until she died of exhaustion, or abort the child, miscarry and bleed to death. In short, staying was the worst possible choice. After figuring this out, her tone hardened. When you were young, you kept a mistress, and now you're a guest on a widow's bed. In all these years, how have I ever wronged you? And now I have to suffer this kind of torment with you. If you despise me, then divorce me. Anyway, this life is already so rotten we can't go on. Father-in-law was in a rage, and mother-in-law got what she wanted, receiving a divorce letter. She really intended to wait for Du Yuxian to pay for her release. By the time Su Ziyu received the news, his old mother had already identified herself as Du's wife. But I didn't expect the Su father and son to recover so quickly. They transformed their grief and indignation into strength. To earn money and escape their predicament, they together entertained foreign guests. When the pimp chatted with me, he remarked with great emotion, "Like father, like son in battle. These two have such spirit." My expression shattered, utterly bewildered. This. I was so anxious I scratched my ears and cheeks. Taking advantage of the midnight hour when no one was paying attention, I quietly climbed up the outer wall. After wetting my finger with saliva and poking a hole in the paper window, I could vaguely see the figure of that foreigner. No matter how I looked, they seemed familiar. I suddenly remembered that when the Su household hadn't yet fallen into decline, mother-in-law often invited foreign singers and dancers to perform songs to pass the time. That man's profile was clearly identical to the leader of the opera troupe. It couldn't be that they were taking advantage of the Su family's decline, could it? Deliberately saving money to trample on the dignity of my father-in-law and husband. At this moment, father-in-law and husband were kneeling on the ground, speaking with conviction. Her little mouth sputtered, babbling something incomprehensible. It was passionate and vehement, not sounding like a private affair. When things are abnormal, something is amiss. I remembered that when vying for the throne against the current emperor, the fifth prince had had ambiguous dealings with foreign powers. I hastily leaped down from the wall, nearly spraining my leg. I quickly entrusted someone to report this matter to my father. I came to Yuheng Courtyard to get revenge on my husband's entire family. If I could also earn some military merits on the side, wouldn't that be like a serf overturning their lot and becoming the master? The matron's throne seemed to be beckoning wildly to me. My father replied that very night, saying he had long ago planted a guard in Yuheng Courtyard. That guard was 8 feet tall, handsome and dashing, named Xie Yun. Looking at the tall pimp who came to meet me and exchange secret signals, I thought, where's the handsomeness? And where's the dashing part? My eyes betrayed my true thoughts. The pimp said little, took a cloth from his pocket, and wet it. He rubbed and rubbed it on that unremarkable, plain ugly face. A divine face appeared, so handsome it made me drool 3,000 feet. I swallowed hard. Brother, with such good looks, being a pimp really does you a disservice. Xie Yun, no longer displaying the greasy demeanor of the previous pimp, declared with awe-inspiring righteousness. Serving the people. I looked at his well-developed biceps and understood. No wonder my husband always screamed bloody murder whenever I prepared his bath. My father must have instructed him to treat his prospective son-in-law well. After Xie Yun's identity was revealed to me, he told me everything he knew. He said this brothel belonged to the Beixiaosheng of the Jianghu. He candidly stated that the emperor deliberately demoted the Su family to this place with other intentions. I nodded. Anyone who dares to collude with foreign invaders deserves to be executed by all. I wouldn't dare to kill anyone. But psychological warfare, I could handle easily. While Du Yuxian came to visit my former mother-in-law again, I hesitantly revealed the news to my former father-in-law. In the back garden, Madame Su shyly held her slightly rounded belly. Du Yuxian held her small hand and whispered something into her ear, causing the middle-aged woman to smile faintly. Old man Su turned and grabbed a stick, striking at Du Yuxian. Madame Su cried out in a panic from the side. Stop hitting him, stop, quick, someone help. You surnamed Su, you threw the divorce papers at me. Why are you pestering me again now? I married you, bore your children. You promised monogamy but kept an outside mistress. Now you've brought this upon yourself, causing your whole family to fall to this state. I've finally found a new hope. What are you meddling in now? Lord Su's eyes turned red. You are a Su family member in life, and a Su family ghost in death. Even divorced, you can't cavort with such a despicable man and disgrace me. In the midst of the chaos, Su Ziyu and Du Wanner arrived late. Du Yuxian pointed at his older sister and brother-in-law. It was your good son who played matchmaker. How is this our fault? Now she's pregnant with my child, I won the bet, so I'm taking her away, and no one can stop me. You old scoundrel, earning money properly is your business. Du Wanner was utterly thunderstruck upon hearing this. Her prospective mother-in-law had been shockingly transformed into a prospective sister-in-law. She furiously questioned her younger brother. Why did you lie to me back then? We agreed you'd redeem Li Beizu to be your concubine. How could you now? Her brother, nonchalant, replied. Isn't this all your fault for not arranging things properly? Things have come to this. I will definitely take my people and leave today. Your grievances don't involve me. Xie Yun and I sat steadily in the corner, watching the drama unfold. Watching them squabble below, I tisged. Should my ex-husband call her mom or sister-in-law later? That's so hard. Xie Yun answered. Call her mom in front of her father. Call her sister-in-law in front of Du Wanner. Offending neither side, perfect. After the important task of monitoring the father and son was handed over to Xie Yun, I spent my days immersed in the courtesan leaderboard, dedicated to campaigning for my ex-husband. Su Ziyu was truly too popular. Brothel owner Su said that Su Ziyu now had the privilege of selecting his clients. I felt a touch of sympathy for him. Others are caught between a rock and a hard place. My ex-husband, however, was caught in a bind from both ends. Privilege was indeed a double-edged sword. Ever since I invented the capital's top courtesans leaderboard, customers who had visited the establishment would anonymously participate in voting. The head madam watched as the worth of our establishment's girls and boys continued to climb, and praised my business acumen many times. A few days later, Xie Yun found me late at night to synchronize details. I pulled him to hide in the back kitchen. Xie Yun said he'd hidden under the bed in the room and heard Su Ziyu and his father weeping profusely, while pledging loyalty to a foreign man. The two of them thoroughly lambasted the runaway fifth prince, saying the fifth prince had run off with his wife's younger sister, disregarding the lives of his subjects. They further swore solemnly that they were intimately familiar with the capital's defenses and the new emperor's weaknesses. They even brazenly suggested taking advantage of the Lantern Festival to give the capital a gunpowder package, blowing the new emperor, who celebrated with his people, sky high. They proposed their conditions: to take them both out of the country to the northern frontier, and bestow upon them high office and generous emoluments. The foreign man pondered for a moment, agreed to each point, and promised they could bring their families along. At this point, Xie Yun built up suspense for me. How do you think the two of them plan to proceed? I calmly guessed, having stolen a pastry from the steamer. Presumably, he'll only bring his dear Wanner. After Xie Yun snatched the pastry from my mouth and wolfed it down. Su Ziyu wants to kill you. I sighed. You ate my pastry, remember to save my life, brother. But my husband has miscalculated. While he's building his career here, Du Wanner hasn't been idle either. She's going to be the 18th concubine of a wealthy merchant. How could she possibly run away with a loser like him? Xie Yun's eyes widened in shock. Such satisfying news. Why didn't you say so sooner? Miss Beizu, if I ever offend you, please tell me directly. Don't relegate me to being a book boy. My eyes lit up. Book boy? That's a new avenue for business too. Let me get my notebook. For my future business empire. After writing it down, I recounted the whole story to Xie Yun. Du Wanner had not lost heart after Su Ziyu's entire family fell into misfortune. Before their home was raided, Su Ziyu had given her a good amount of money to support herself. But not long after, her gluttonous, lazy, gambling younger brother found it. He showed off his wealth at a gambling den, was set up, and lost everything. She embroidered daily to support her family and waited on her ailing widowed mother. She had originally hoped Su Ziyu, with his extraordinary ability, could escape from Yu Hongyuan. But who would have thought he'd sink deeper into the mire every day? She saw the sordid affairs between my husband and other men, and was so disgusted she couldn't sleep. Finally, her brother Du Yuxian got incredibly lucky and won some money, yet he used that money to buy the freedom of an aging madam who was pregnant. Duwana was then forced by her own mother to become Madame Su's maid, serving her to bear children for the Du family. After the rice jar went empty, she had no choice but to take her last golden hairpin to exchange for money. It just so happened that a wealthy merchant inspecting the pawnshop took a fancy to her. The merchant didn't take the hairpin, and even generously gave her a gold ingot. One thing led to another, and that's how it happened. According to my original plan, I wouldn't trust anyone else with such a matter. So I begged my father to handle it himself. My father became exasperated, saying that although he was still in his prime at 41, his heart belonged only to my deceased mother. He couldn't even pretend for other women, let alone go through the motions. So my father hastily chose someone for the hero saving the beauty role. The wealthy merchant offered a betrothal gift to the Du family, and Duwana cut off contact with Suziu. She didn't come, and my ex-husband yearned for her return. Last night, it said that he called out the wrong name during intimacy, and was severely beaten by the noble female guest. Madame Su knows she's Madame Du now. My former mother-in-law, without a proper title or status, lived a stable life with Du Yuxian. It was as if she was determined to bear children for the Du family and start anew. However, after the Du family received the wealthy merchant's betrothal gift, she felt sorry for her suffering son. She secretly sent a letter to Suziu. In an awkward tone, she explained that Duwana had no choice in the matter, and thus marriage was inevitable. Suziu was greatly provoked by this news. He burst into my room, intending to strangle me. With disheveled hair like a male ghost, he circled the table back and forth with me, muttering incessantly like a resentful woman. I was just making a joke on our wedding day, and you went and harmed my entire family like this. When Nanny was choosing people, you dared to push me forward. I am the sole male heir of the Su family for 3 generations, yet because of you, I've fallen to become a plaything. Now Warner has abandoned me, you must be happy now, proud even. If I don't strangle you today, I'm not Suziu. I nimbly circled around him, baiting him. You failed to harm me, and now it's my fault. Besides, Nanny favored you. That's why you have a life of luxury. It's a good thing for Miss Warner to marry into a higher status. With your ruined body now, wouldn't getting sick only hold Miss Warner back? Your mother is now Warner's sister-in-law. It wouldn't be good if you married Warner and messed up the generations. I gave him earnest advice, but he didn't understand me. He even started picking up teacups from the table and throwing them at me. I was almost hit by that rotten man. Annoyed, I abruptly turned and charged. I lifted my foot and used all my strength to kick him between his legs. Simple. Effective. Battle over. The pimp-like Xie Yun helped him up, his lips trembling, and said solicitously, "Young master, Nanny sent me to find you. You have a distinguished guest." Brother Xie lifted the person out as if they were a chick. But Su Zia's eyes, brimming with hatred, stared fixedly at me, like a viper. Late in the night, I was sleeping soundly. Xie Yun quietly pinched me awake. "They've run off. Do you want to come with me to chase them?" Having slept in my clothes for days, I quickly got up. "Let's go. Let's go. Let's go." Under the cover of night, Xie Yun and I each rode our horses down a small path. It wasn't until we reached the outskirts that we saw several horses, trailing behind a carriage, guarding it from a distance. Seeing they were outnumbered, I frantically tried to back out. "Brother Xie, as a mere woman, I can't be of much help. How about I go back and wait first? Once you return victorious, fighting 1 against 10, we can then drink and celebrate." Xie Yun glanced at my cowering figure. "Don't you spend all day shouting about eliminating treacherous officials? So with a formidable enemy right in front of you, you're scared?" The people ahead suddenly stopped their carriage, as if to rest for a moment. I pulled tight on the reins. "If we charge up there and fight 1-on-1, that's brave but reckless. We can't just throw our lives away here for nothing. I have elders to care for above and children below." He rolled his eyes. "You have children?" I pointed at myself. Haha, supporting myself. How is that not having little ones to look after? He burst into a hearty laugh, startling me into quickly covering his mouth. He pried my hand away, leaving me with a single phrase. "You wait here." Then he spurred his horse and charged towards the dozen or so foreign tribesmen who were waiting in formation. My eyes widened in shock and I could only follow. I did know a bit of martial arts. but my skills could probably defeat 0.5 of a strong, robust foreign tribesman. Just as I was about to pray to heaven for another 500 years of life, suddenly, armored warriors dressed in our dynasty's style rushed out from all directions. My father, with a nest of straw on his head, ran up to me and blocked my pony. Looking at his familiar face, my eyes welled up with tears. So, I didn't have to die in battle after all. I dutifully retreated to a safe zone, watching my father and Xie Yun, wielding maces and swords, fighting fiercely with bloodshot eyes. Poor my former father-in-law and husband, both of whom were frail scholars. After trembling in the carriage, they decided to take advantage of the chaos to escape, but they fled to a dead end at the edge of a cliff. My father-in-law stumbled and fell, splattering into a bloom of blood below. The foreign tribesman leader, seeing little chance of victory, attempted to bite his tongue to commit suicide, but Xie Yun dislocated his jaw. Su Ziyu attempted one last struggle, flinging a knife at me, but he missed his aim, and it landed on the ground. I picked it up and flung it back with a backhand, unexpectedly embedding it in his chest. He pulled out the knife, and blood spurted profusely from his chest. As he fell, his hateful eyes remained wide open, unclosed even in death. My father went up and kicked him. Traitor! Spit. The only surviving foreign man was handed over to the state. As a participant in the war, I received commendation from the emperor and attended the victory celebration. From his high throne, the young emperor asked me, "What reward does Miss Li desire?" I asked tentatively, "Your Majesty, would any reward be acceptable?" My father, beside me, was frantically kicking my perfectly good legs. I straightened my posture and said in a serious tone, "Your Majesty, I wish to be the manager of Yu Hung Courtyard. Could your Majesty please buy Yu Hung Courtyard and bestow it upon your humble servant?" My father looked utterly resigned to his fate, his face pale. Xie Yun spat out the excellent imperial wine in his mouth, spraying it 2 zhang away. The other high-ranking officials exchanged glances, though not a sound was heard. But I felt the discussion in the air was very intense. The emperor smiled and asked me cheerfully, "You are so young, why would you go to such a place to make a living? If it is for wealth, I can bestow upon you gold and silver treasures, ensuring 3 generations of comfort. If it is for pleasure, there are many excellent young men in the court. Whichever one you like, I can grant you a marriage to him." Even so, do you still want to be a manager? I said decisively, "Your Majesty, Yu Hung Courtyard is a place where all sorts of people gather, where people from various countries exchange information. If I go there, I will surely make further contributions to the nation, cultivating better espionage personnel to bring glory to the country." The emperor slapped his thigh. "Good. General Li has such a tiger daughter. It is the nation's good fortune. Then I shall fulfill your desire." Xie Yun heed the imperial decree. I was bewildered. Why was he calling out Xie Yun when he was about to reward me? I turned my head to look and saw Xie Yun rise and kneel on the ground. Xie Yun, I the emperor, having made my solemn promise, have already granted that Yu Hung Courtyard shall be managed by Li Beizu from now on. Effective immediately, you are relieved of your post. Do you accept this? I was utterly confused. But Xie Yun was offering his thanks. Your humble servant accepts the decree and gives thanks. From now on, I shall unquestionably follow the lead of Director Li Beizu. My father reminded me to give thanks. I kowtowed, glancing sideways at Xie Yun. He gave me a reassuring, faint smile. Damn it, in public, why does he have to smile so beautifully? Later, at the banquet, my father finally said, "Xie Yun, is that by Shaosheng? You really dared to speak your mind. Luckily, he's a good person and even agreed to be your right-hand man. If I had known earlier you would ask His Majesty for this, I would never have brought you to attend. Well, now you've done it. You're even less likely to get married now. My good grandchildren are even further out of sight." I poured wine for him. "Father, if you really like children, then have one yourself. It would be a good thing to have another younger brother in the family." My father ignored me and cupped his hands in greeting to Xie Yun. "My headstrong daughter will need much looking after from you, my lord." Xie Yun gave a knowing smile and raised his cup to him. "In the future, I hope Miss Beizu will show more consideration for her subordinates." That day, I was dragging Xie along to identify portraits of people from all walks of life. Someone came to deliver a message, saying that Madame Su, after a near-death experience, had given birth to a son. However, being older, her figure and appearance were much worse than before. Du Yuxian was naturally fickle. He paid no attention to the mother and son. To survive, she took up Du Wanner's embroidery skills to make a living. Her life was difficult. Du Wanner, on the other hand, enjoyed a good life for a while. However, her husband was fond of exploring new, unknown worlds. Time and again, I saw him at the House of Red Delights, embracing women on both sides. Du Wanner miscarried during her pregnancy, driven to it by anger. It is said that later, to vie for her husband's favor with other concubines, she got into a big fight. Eventually, she angered the principal wife. In the dead of winter, the principal wife ordered them both to chip ice for water, and they both fell into the lake and drowned. I clicked my tongue, holding the hand warmer, and idly chatted with Xie. Hasn't that foreigner been interrogated already? His hand and foot tendons have been severed, right? Isn't he supposed to be sent here to continue to shine and emit heat? This work is truly inhumane. It's so exhausting. If I had known, when His Majesty asked me that day, I would have chosen to pursue wealth and pleasure. So many handsome men at court, why didn't I seize the opportunity? Xie ignored me, turning and leaving to attend to his duties. That night, I stared at Xie, who had appeared on my bed, and fell into deep thought. I was just indulging my tongue. Do you have to be like this? We have a normal superior-subordinate relationship. Don't stray onto improper paths. The man remained silent, merely gazing alluringly. Know this. What can I do? This is truly difficult to handle.